Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Flat Smack, where we put the smack down on the flat earth idiocy. You may remember a few days ago, I posted a video where I exposed a flat earther as a fake PhD. I told you then that I was going to be looking into his channel, and boy have I. I have found tons of crazy flat earth videos, but none of them as hilarious as the one I'm about to show you now. Trust me, you don't want to miss it, so stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, Flat Smack here. I cannot stress enough just how amazingly mind-numbingly stupid this next flat earth Airfingers quote proof video is. And I found this video on the YouTube channel of none other than the PhD fraud who calls himself Dr. John D., who claims to have a PhD in spectrophotometry. In this video, the presenter is going to demonstrate what happens to gases when exposed to a pressure differential. Brace yourself, you may lose a few IQ points just watching. The first thing they do is give us a wiki explanation of what space is.
The smoking gun.
After telling us it's a smoking gun, of course.
We have been told that Earth is in space, which is said to be expanding. Outer space has very low density and pressure and is the closest physical approximation of a perfect vacuum. But no vacuum is truly perfect, not even in interstellar space, where there are still a few hydrogen atoms per cubic meter. The video clip you are about to see shows a simple vacuum chamber observation. It is a low pressure rather than a vacuum.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to get our setup. You notice on the side we've got this jar labeled. We've got the atmosphere, and we've got the sea and the ocean and gravity. What he's doing now, he's going to put in the seas and the oceans. They're going to be represented by this drop of water, because that's a fairly close approximation, wouldn't you say? Now, we need some atmosphere. So let's go ahead and take some toilet paper, which is really apropos since this video is full of caca, poopa. So take a little toilet paper, light it on fire, and let's get ourselves an atmosphere in this bell jar. You know, shaking the jar really helps the atmosphere, make its way up to the top. Everybody knows that. Yeah, let's get that jar nice and full of some good, thick atmosphere. Shake it a little more, It's like getting a Slurpee. Make sure you get the air out and shake it really good. All right, let's get this thing sealed down. Now we've got to show what happens to an atmosphere in a pressure differential. I'm telling you, you're going to be surprised. Here's the oceans represented by the water in this petri dish. I got to pause it in a second because of this. I'm going to pause this right here because it's going to make it easier for you to read because his camera work is not the best. So the atmosphere is presented by the smoke produced by the burnt toilet tissue. In this observation, the second law of thermodynamics isn't too fussed about the presence of a density gradient or not. I guess that's a word, fussed. I'm sure that's the proper usage of it, but I digress. You'll see why I paused it for you, and you're welcome. It gets really kind of blurry at this point. All right, well, let's just move forward a little bit here. Let's just move forward. We get it. And then there's gravity, which the little card says that gravity is not a force, but it can act like a force. Okay. Pretender. All right, let's turn that vacuum hose on there. We got the pump going now. Now we're going to get our pressure differential, and we're going to see what happens to an atmosphere when there's a pressure differential. I'm assuming the differential is between the pressure inside of the jar and the pressure outside of the jar. I'm assuming that's the pressure differential of which they speak. Wow. I can already see the smoking gun. This is incredible. I mean, this footage is amazing. Ooh, what's going to happen to the water? Anyone out there want to guess what happens to water in a vacuum? Ooh, it looks like it's starting to boil. Wow. Water boiling in a vacuum. Wow, that must mean the earth is flat. I've been wrong this whole time. It's amazing. This is my favorite part.
We will examine the pressures involved in the observation, then apply the known scientific laws, logic, and reason to determine our situation on Earth.
Okay, let's think about this. They're going to apply the known scientific laws, logic, and reason. Okay. What happens when you apply faulty logic and faulty reasoning and you input crappy data into a model? Well, you're going to find out. Let's keep watching.
Average atmospheric pressure at sea level, 101,325 Pascal, 760 torr, 1,013.25 millibar.
They have no idea what any of that means.
Molecules per centimeter cubed, 2.5 times 10 to the 19th molecules, 25,000 trillion molecules.
Why is that important? The answer? It's not. It's just, let me show you some information I pulled off the internet to make myself look smart. These people have no idea what any of these things mean. Remember, that famous flat earther, Mark Sargent, believes that space is a negative torr. A negative torr. Remember that. This is how flat earthers think that there cannot be a negative torr, but flat earthers think that they can, because they think it's like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. They think that a vacuum is like a Hoover. So the vacuum of space is like a Hoover. Let's just keep watching.
During the observation, there was a maximum 51,000 times pressure differential between the inside of the bell jar and the outside atmosphere at sea level.
Awesome.
Smoke or gas under the influence of a 51,000 time pressure differential. Gravity that is said to exist cannot prevent the diffusion of the smoke or gas.
Okay, so this is the part that is hilarious. Think about what this person just said. They just said that gravity was unable to prevent the diffusion of the smoke, which is representing gas. And you see they have these pictures. You got a lot of it here. Now as the pressure increases on the outside, because the pressure on the inside is decreasing, the gas is starting to diffuse until it's completely diffused, right? How do they lower the pressure in the vacuum chamber? They do it by sucking out all the air, which also sucked out all of the gas, smoke/gas. So let's look at the definition of the word diffuse, because remember, they're saying that gravity did not prevent the diffusion of the smoke. Diffusion. the spreading of something more widely. Well, I okay. I guess they're right, because if you noticed in the video when they first started the pump up, there was one tube that was laying there that they picked up and moved to another location because that tube is where the air from inside of the jar exits through the pump. And so they moved that to another section of the room because the smoke was going to come out of it. So yeah, I guess gravity didn't prevent them from sucking smoke out of this jar and pumping it into the room they were in. Let's keep watching.
At a 51,000 time pressure differential. At only a 51,000 times pressure differential, the smoke diffuses into the area of lower pressure in accordance with the second law of thermodynamics.
Wait. So now they're saying that the area listen what she just said, that it diffused into the area of lower pressure. No, it did not. It was pumped out of the jar into the room, which is the area of higher pressure, because there's no pressure in the jar because you removed it. So all of the air pressure is now on the outside of the jar. Remember, this is on a YouTube channel from a guy who claims to have a PhD.
Smoke, or gas, is not prevented from diffusing away by any force present or anything that could be thought of as a force. Deep space, which is said to be expanding. The pressure of space is quoted as being 3 times 10 to the negative 15 Pascal, 1 times 10 to the negative 17 torr, 1.33 times 10 to the negative 17 millibar. What would happen to the gases of the atmosphere? A pressure differential of approximately 76 trillion between deep space and atmospheric pressure at sea level. This is a simple observation that anyone can perform or view on YouTube. The observation is self-explanatory. If you think you live on a globe flying through infinite expanding space, then what are you breathing? Because it sure isn't air. Some people may bring up the principle of a gas density gradient within the atmosphere.
Yes.
And then the water degasses and starts to boil. Rivers, seas, and water bodies begin to decrease in volume, and living things suffer a most horrendous fate.
Okay, so now they're saying that the water boiling is another, another smoking gun. Why does water boil under low pressure? Why? This is where a little scientific knowledge would come in handy. The temperature at which water boils comes down to the pressure of the system. The reason water boils in a vacuum can easily be summarized with the concept: an increase in pressure leads to an increase in the boiling point of a liquid and vice versa. That's why it's advisable to use a pressure cooker if you live at a high altitude where the pressure is low. According to Le Chatelier's principle, when a change is made on a system, the system adjusts itself to oppose the change. If the pressure of the system containing water is dropped to zero, the water has to evaporate in order to recover the withdrawn air pressure. Another thing to remember is that the water molecules have kinetic energy and move randomly. This random motion is what knocks off the molecules from the surface of the water and causes evaporation. In a vacuum, without any air pressure to keep the molecules in the water, the molecules simply jump off the surface into the vacuum without any resistance from the air molecules. Makes sense, kids? Of course it does, because it's science. Well, that's all the time I have left for this video today. I appreciate you guys checking it out. Do me a favor and take a second to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Again, I appreciate you coming by. Until next time, keep smacking them down.